Hello and welcome back to the Minecraft Handbook, the series that teaches you how to play Minecraft every single day. I am of course keeping it crafted, and today I'm going to be showing you the basics of mining. So last episode we set about the basics of crop farming. I showed you guys the basics with wheat in specific, and this was in order to get food, which is obviously imperative to survival. Now off camera I have been harvesting that between episodes, so we have got ourselves quite a bit of wheat. So I'm just going to show you the crafting recipe for bread. You just want to put 3 pieces of wheat in a line, and if you hold down your mouse whilst you drag it along, it divides it out nice and neatly for you. So I'm just going to shove that in there, and I'm going to grab ourselves a whole bunch of sticks, some coal and some coal, and we're gonna split this in half by right clicking it and get the 20 and just make ourselves a stack and 16 of torches, and then we're going to make ourselves a few pickaxes, just because cobble ones tend to break quite quickly. So we're gonna throw those bits back in there and we're gonna get ready to go mining. Now we could go mining in the nearby area, but there's also something else I've been doing off camera, and if you look over here, if you watched the previous 2 episodes, this area over here is a bit more vacant than it used to be. I have actually chopped down all of the trees in this little bit here, that we'll be kind of covering next episode, I hope. But one thing I noticed whilst I was over here was the start of a cave. And obviously these are naturally generated within the world. I highly advise, once you start on your brand new world, to go and find one like I'm doing now, just because they give you an easy way to find exposed minerals and items. So obviously we've just found coal on the entrance, so that's super awesome. It means that we've now got we've almost earned back most of the coal that we used to make the torches. And a good philosophy to always have is to always kind of hope to gain back the resources you spent to go mining and that kind of thing. So we're just going to follow this cave around. I always tend to put my torches on the left hand side, just so you can work out which way you're going. Now we're going to run away from these two. That's of course a creeper. So it's a hostile mob that explodes just like that. I tried to keep my distance as it won't explode if you go too far away from it, which is obviously ideal. This is obviously a skeleton with its bow and arrow. Right. So yeah, probably not the best way of showing off the mobs, but you kind of get the general gist of them. They're nothing too hard, even in the hard difficulty. This is obviously going to be the hardest point of the game when you don't have any armor, and you only have kind of stone tools. So it is important to try and get rid of the mobs, or at least avoid them as much as possible. And as you can see, our stone pickaxe just broke, so we're going to switch to the next one. And this is what I mean by you need quite a few, just because in order to make a reasonable enough journey that's actually worthwhile, you want to kind of get a few more. Now if you look in my inventory, the block I'm holding is andesite. If I place it down, it doesn't quite look like cobble or stone. The other kind of blocks we've come across so far, it's just a general block in the game, but it doesn't serve any purpose besides being a decoration block. It can be crafted into a polished version of itself, but that too is only decoration. As you might have seen, these blocks are granite. They are similar to andesite in that they are purely for decoration, and there's a white variant which I'll point out if I see it, called diorite, which is also for decoration. Those were, I want to say, 1.10 maybe added. They've not been around a humongous amount of time, So it's kind of cool when you come across them, though the fact that they're kind of useless it is a little bit frustrating, though it is a nice addition to any kind of Minecraft world, just to give it a bit of variation. Now, as you can see, we're kind of only coming across coal. Normally you would come across other ores as well, and we've kind of come to a dead end. But if we look at our coordinates, we're at Y54, which I would say is a reasonable kind of height. It's not too far down, and I think because of that we're going to try and break down. Now, it's important that you never dig straight down in Minecraft, just because there is an abundance of lava pools that you can always end up falling into, and therefore it makes the most sense to always kind of dig around and never quite straight down. We're going to dig down, and as you might have seen, there was a different coloured block just ahead of us, and there is actually a creeper down there, so we're going to have to take that one out first before we think about getting all the way down. And as you can see, I'm just backing off each time. I could probably do with a shield, but those aren't these require iron, which is this block here. So this is iron ore, so it's not used for any recipes as is. It has to be put in the furnace, which we used to cook our food last episode in, and that will then make iron ingots, which you can then craft into different things. This is actually quite a good vein here. We've got quite a bit of iron. Obviously, all ores kind of spawn in veins, as they're known as, which basically means they are clumps all together within the world. You know, they're not just sparsely single block generations, and it's quite nice to kind of grab all of this, because now that we've got a bit of iron and quite a lot of coal, we're going to be kind of set up for our world. The aim, I would say, for me personally, is to get enough iron that we can build ourselves an iron armor set and iron tools, and still comfortably have enough iron to get on with projects. The only reason I say this is because as I want to do the survival guide part of this, rather than it just being and we have a zombie, rather than just being a redstone guide and building guide, it's important that we look at surviving in the most efficient way, and that's the integral part of this handbook, the fact that it's survival. And so yeah, we need to get enough. So that skeleton ahead of us, you might have noticed its bow's glowing. If we sneak around the corner, you can just about see that its bow is glowing, and that's because it is enchanted. Now, there's no guarantee it will drop the bow, and of course we died, so that's actually our first death of the series. There's no rush to get back over there, just because when you die in Minecraft, you have like a 5-minute thing before your items despawn. So I'm actually gonna sleep real quick, just because that will reduce the amount of mobs that are spawning in the dark, and any that have spawned, if they're zombies or skeletons, so if they're within range of sun, then they will get burnt alive. Obviously that skeleton's in the water is kind of annoying. We'll have to skip around him, and that skeleton's just seen us there. It may be worth me lighting up more of this island at some point. But as we come back down, I'll be able to illustrate the issue that I was saying about how the items won't despawn. So all of the items have like a 5-minute timer before they despawn, and this means that, you know, although I am running back because I don't want them to despawn, if I came across a couple of zombies and bits like that, I would be able to comfortably slay them and know that I can still get to my stuff on time. So let's try not to get killed by this skelly again. There we go. Oh, and here comes a creeper. Let's just knock it down into that hole, just to buy us some time, because if you notice, our health isn't at full, and it won't actually regenerate until we eat, because we are currently hungry. So now that we eat, you can see our hunger bar, our health bar is going up again. I'm gonna have to rearrange my whole inventory, but then we'll just throw that like that. Hopefully we can find all of our items. We need the crafting table, just because we might want to craft some items at some point. I don't think the skeleton dropped its bow, which is slightly frustrating, as it was quite a good bow. There is a small random kind of chance that enchanted items will be dropped by mobs, or even regular items for that matter, but unfortunately this time wasn't one of them. I don't actually know the stat for enchanted items being dropped, but I will make sure I either put that on screen or I mention it next episode. Right, we're just going to grab these blocks of iron. Obviously we don't have infinite reach, so we're going to have to actually build up, so we get closer to that block there. And as you can see, I've kind of put this torch here as an indication of this is a crossroads, just because there's two and I can't put it on the left of both necessarily. So I'm gonna throw in that there and grab ourselves as much iron as possible. Now we've managed to dig a hole to the sand, which I'm assuming is on the shore. We might need to fix that at a later date if we want things to look more aesthetically pleasing, but that's not an issue. As we saw last episode as well, sand is one of the few blocks that's affected by gravity. There's another skeleton over there. I'm gonna run back and eat, just so I can make sure that if I take damage I'm able to replenish it. Replenish my health. There we go, and we absolutely destroyed that skeleton. And we seem to have found quite a fair amount of coal and iron now. We're sitting at what, 36 this will be once I get this, which should be just about enough to build ourselves all the tools and weapons and armor that we need, in terms of upgrades. I might explore further down, but I'm going to save some of the far explorations down for another video, because at certain levels different types of ores spawn. So you have things like iron, which is prevalent through most of the world. Then you have things like diamond and gold, which are from like level 14 below. And yeah, because of the fact that the lower items are so much more there's so much more worth to them, it might be worth us waiting to a different episode so I can explain better techniques for finding those, as I would use a different method for finding those compared to my methods used for finding iron. So there we go, we're gonna head back towards the opening that we came from, and we actually had this bit down here to explore, so I'm gonna have a look down here and just take out this zombie. Now there's a few blocks. Oh, there's a baby zombie. Now these are extremely quick, so you have to be extremely careful when they start attacking you. And there's actually a lot of zombies here. I can't tell if it's just because it's dark or whether it's because of a spawner. If it's because of a spawner, then we're in for a lot of luck, and we just dodged that shot from the skeleton. They are going to get one up on us quickly, but there we go. Luckily we ate in time and were able to replenish the health that we were about to lose. Right, let's keep eating, and I think we're just going to explore this left hand side, just because I can see that there's iron here, and I was about to say that there was another block that's affected by gravity that we just passed, and actually I think there's a few around. Well, I'll clear these mobs, and I think there'll be a few in here as well. I think, yep, there we go, we died again. Let's grab ourselves a pork chop and we'll head back down. And so we managed to block that area off, and now we can finish getting this little bit of iron, but if we take a look at how much we've got just quickly, we can have about 48 blocks, which is 3/4 of a stack. A stack being 64 blocks. And here's the gravel I was talking about earlier. So if I hit that, that's all affected by gravity, which is super awesome. And one of the things you get when you keep destroying gravel, hopefully it starts to appear at one point, is flint, which is actually a really useful item. It can be made into, it can be used as part of making arrows, if you want to use bow and arrows. Alternatively, its even more common use would be to make a flint and steel. So the steel being an iron ingot, and then obviously use that piece of flint, and that can be used to light things on fire. So if you've heard of a nether portal, that's extremely important for making that. It's also important for lighting random things on fire. So it's not a necessity to have right at the start of the game, but it's certainly something you want to have fairly soon. So we're just going to head back to the base. I'm going to start smelting the iron, and then we're going to go through the basic crafting recipes for the different things like iron and tools. And just before we do that, we appear to have got a friend. We've got ourselves a turtle living on the side of our base, which is super awesome. It could mean that they might lay turtle eggs, which if they do, that's gonna really help, because there's a lot of things you can do with those. So yeah, I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna throw our iron into the furnace. Now each block of coal only smelts 8 blocks at a time. We're just gonna chuck the rest of this by shift clicking it back in. It will go into there. As you can see, the iron ingot has been smelted. So there are different types of fuels. Obviously you can throw in, I talked about charcoal last episode, being an alternative to coal, because it's where you burn logs to make that. There's also things like lava buckets, which will they'll cook 100 blocks. You can use, if you go to the nether and kill blazes, you can use blaze rods and bits like that. So there's a whole load of different ways you can create power for your furnace. But I think the most effective way just to go for beginning is just to use regular coal. So yeah, I'm going to wait for all of this to smelt up and I'll be back in a sec. And yeah, once the iron has smelted, you can of course get the achievement of quite high hardware, but we can make ourselves some armor. So the first thing we're going to do is make a helmet. Just want to get 5 pieces of iron and build it in this upside down U shape. So you get that. Then next thing we want to do is build a chest plate. So that's every one of these is filled in except from that top middle. Then we're going to move on to leggings, which you're going to just do like that. There's a N kind of shape, nothing in the middle and bottom middle, and then boots are just 2 on either side. So we'll go ahead and go in and equip those, and then we've got ourselves 24 bits of iron. We're going to take all of that stuff out of our inventory, and we're going to work on upgrading those. So we're going to make ourselves a sword first, a pickaxe, then we're going to make ourselves an axe and a shovel. So that has fully upgraded our armor, and yeah, that's basically how to go mining. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, let me know if this tutorial or guide helped you at all, and let me know if you have any questions about it. Alright, see you in the next one.